My name is Timothy Nyangweso. I am in the beautiful place of Magere, and we're going to discuss something with our guest, and it's something that I would like all of us to be interested in. This nation, how do we build it? How do you and I put a brick to this nation? And that's what our guest will be telling us. He grew up in a family that was a stronghold of DP. He said he didn't want to know anything with politics, but his music said otherwise. Today is his anniversary, and we're going to be talking about things that are happening in this nation. Today we have Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu discussing this nation and what his plan is for this nation. So take a listen. Honorable, you're very welcome.
Thank you very much.
It is good to have you.
It's good to be here.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you, man.
9 years.
Yeah, and counting.
And counting.
Yeah.
So we came earlier on and found young men boxing here, and I was wondering, are you a southpaw and orthodox? Because my father was a boxer, 1968, 1972 medals. So you and I could spar later on and see what happens.
Well, that we can be arranged. Yeah, I'm unorthodox, but I can very well play southpaw as well.
Okay,
yeah.
So we should set a date for the exhibition of our boxing game after this.
After this, we'll discuss that.
Okay, Honorable, you are running as a flag bearer of the National Unity Platform.
Yes.
For the presidency of this country.
Yes.
Where is your inspiration coming from?
Wow. To many people, it's inspiration, but I would want to say it's not in many ways out of inspiration. It's out of desperation.
Okay.
That I find myself in politics. Like you said, I didn't like this, and politics would not really come off as my thing. But because I had to do this, because I looked around and I didn't see anybody to do this for me. And I'm sure it is the same with you and with many other young people there. So taking a plunge into politics was one, to send out a message to fellow young people who want to believe that this is our country, and if we don't fold our sleeves and get to work, nobody's going to do it for us. And also to remind them that we must get involved. So I got involved, and when I got involved, overwhelming support came in and overwhelming guidance also came in. We came together as a team. The team continued growing bigger, and here we are. So yes, I'm running for president, but I would say desperation drove us there.
And Honorable, you talk about desperation getting you here, but the question that is interesting, you don't refer to yourself as a politician. What is the difference between the two, and what do you refer yourself as?
Politics as a word lost so much credibility. In our generation, being a politician, in my opinion, and in the opinion of very many people, tended to mean hypocrisy, tended to mean saying one thing and doing another, tended to mean that there is a class of those that are supposed to think for us and act for us.
Yes.
So I don't want to call myself a politician. I would rather refer to myself as a leader or as a revolutionary.
Many have called you, including Yvonne Chakachaka, calling you the Mandela of this generation. What do you say to such a heavy statement, putting you in that category of people?
The statement is too heavy for me. I don't look at myself as a Mandela. Mandela was a great man. I look at myself as a humble Kyagulanyi, a ghetto youth from Kamocha, that also rises to the occasion to communicate to fellow other ghetto youth that, guys, it's not what other people define you as that should ultimately define you, but what you see in yourself. So I just pick inspiration, of course, from great people like Mandela, like Martin Luther King. And maybe in the ghetto one day, I want ghetto children to be called the Bobi wines of that time. Of course, it humbles me to be, I cannot even say equated to such great men, because I can't imagine myself stepping in such great shoes, but I can only say I try to do what I can do, and hopefully it gives pride and inspiration to the ghetto youth.
I think you don't give yourself so much credit. I think you have done a tremendous job with getting young people to know that someone else can be able to stand up for the top office in this country regardless, and I think you have done a tremendous job with that. But getting to the real issues.
Yeah.
Honorable, this country has quite a number of sectors. Has one of the highest unemployment rates. the youngest population, a big percentage of people in agriculture. What 2, 3, 4 sectors do you think, or when you become president, come May next year, do you think you can start with to get this country to a middle-income country?
Thank you. Our challenges, I mean, when young people talk about their challenges, they're immense. Looks like they are the only challenges this country has. When women talk about their challenges, oh my God, it's like we only have women challenges.
Yes.
When old people talk about their challenges, it's like all challenges are old people's challenges. So we have challenges in different ways. From where I stand, and I cannot claim to be the most knowledgeable about the problems of our country, but from where I stand, I see that our problems emanate from one core thing, that is governance. We have had amazing ideas. We've had retreats, we've had meetings, we've had conferences, we've had proposals.
Yes.
And all these are amazing proposals, only if they could be implemented. So the biggest challenge, the biggest gap we have is the political will to implement these amazing ideas. Uganda is not short of ideas. Ideas have been put in place. Strategy 2020,
Vision 2040,
Vision 2040, etc.
National Plan 1, 2, and 3.
Youth
livelihood.
So many.
Yes.
But they're not implemented. Why? Because we lack the political will, the overwhelming corruption, the unlawlessness, etc. We always raise this fist,
yes,
not just as a symbol of defiance, but we have these 5 core principles that we look at.
Yes.
For example, 1, if we have the rule of law and respect for human rights. If we have the rule of law, that means everybody is going to be subjected to the law. They are going to do the right thing. If something is agreed on, it's going to be implemented. And if those funds are released and they're not used or directed to the rightful cause, there will be consequences. Unfortunately, it's not the same here in Uganda. And yes, there's no respect for human rights. Even those that dare to question why things are not done the right way,
yes,
they are arrested, they are humiliated, their rights are taken away, etc. So if we restore the rule of law and respect for human rights, we believe that the law will chase those that stand in the way of the implementation of the changes that we want. From where I stand, we see a challenge in the education system. Now you're talking about the youth unemployment and the general mindset that does not, turn us into the humans that are as productive as should be. Our, human resource capacity is low. Why? Because of our education. Our education system produces more job seekers than job creators. It's a colonial system that was built to create employees, to create servants. We have to reinvent our education system. Talking about that education system briefly, I have a thought that when I'm president, we'll implement the triple A.
What is the triple A?
Triple A, one is academics, another A is athletics, and the other A is arts. I think that if we have a skill-oriented education system focusing on those triple A's, then we will be able to uplift those academic giants.
Yeah.
But not everybody is going to be an academic giant. Some people are more beneficial to our country if we uplift, if we nurture their athletic prowess.
Yes.
Right from childhood. We would be getting the many Kiprotix, we would be getting many Kasimomas, and that will be beneficial to our country, both in terms of image and revenue. And yes, the arts as well.
I agree with you because sports is a $650 million industry that is able to generate. And just recently, Joshua Cheptegei just beat a world record at only 23. So
certainly,
the focus is there.
With minimal facilities.
Yes.
And remember, this is a system that has not in any way empowered sports. But I'll still giving you 5 core targets here. We want to re-energize our healthcare system. Yeah, at least when I'm president, I want to see that people don't worry about dying giving back. We want to see that somebody does not worry that if they don't have 50,000 when they get malaria, they are dying, etc., etc. We energize agriculture. I grew up from the village. I know how people survive. They don't have to go to school when they are blessed with the energy and the land to grow their coffee,
Yes.
to grow their tobacco, etc., etc. And finally, to reunite our country. I know that our problems are much bigger than that, but we want to do first things first.
Yes.
And for us, that is where we're looking. At least if we can be able to achieve that, then we can also incorporate the amazing ideas of these, our experts that we have here and abroad.
Many might say, why are you not calling for a coalition before we get into the sectors that you have spoken about? Why are you not calling for a coalition for the opposition? Because right now, as we know, nature does not accept vacuums.
Yeah.
Right now, you are the opposition leader. Because with the doctor stepping aside, why are we not uniting to have one candidate across the board?
Well, for the last 2 years, we've been discussing that. I want to believe that even the respectable Dr. Kizza Besigye took that move, not just to leave a vacuum,
Yes.
but to give the next generation opportunity to fight on. And for us, we want to fight democratically, we want to fight morally. So it's already being done,
Yes.
It's already underway, and we're building for an ultimate coalition. I mentioned it when we were unveiling the National Unity Platform,
Yes.
that we want the People Power Coalition to have all political players. And you know that recently we unveiled our effort to build a united forces of change.
Yes.
We've been working closely with the Justice Forum, JEMA. We've been working, though not very closely, but closely with the Democratic Party and Honorable Mao. And yes, we are in a good conversation with Dr. Kizza Besigye and General Muntu.
4 teacher could not do a PLE exam. So what I am asking is, what do you think of this, and what education system, even as you have stated? Because we have got vocational schools in every district that were built by the World Bank. And today, they hardly have students in them. How are you going to make an education system that does not get us to remember, but also to think, gets us to think on how to move this country forward? Because we have people that just remember Chintua Nambi, the Himalayas, and remember Napoleon. How do we get people from just remembering to thinking? What education system are you talking about?
You see, our education system is so outdated. It is not for us. The colonialists that enforce that education system on us, they don't use it anymore. So we must be able to reinvent ourselves. Unfortunately, the government that rules over us does not want critical thinkers. And that is why they are maintaining that education system that they know does not benefit us. Why? Because their children are not subjected to the same education system. They can afford to go to other countries that will give their children the education that they need. It is sad to see that a child leaves P7, but they don't know anything to do for themselves.
Yes.
Not only P7, senior 6, and they cannot even make a bread or fix a switch or something like that. I talked about a skill-oriented education system,
Yes.
where at every graduation level at P7, a student must have a certain degree of practical and theoretical knowledge. And that is why I brought back the triple A education system. That triple A must be enforced and must be implemented right from primary education. We have some primary children who can leave P7 and they are established sportsmen.
Yes.
They know certain values of sports, not physical, but even psycho, even mental. The same way with the arts, the same way with the academics.
When we look at education, still sticking with education, we have over 400,000 graduates that come out of our tertiary institutions in this country every year to only 9,000 jobs. How are you going to make that even a balanced ground? Because you either have to bribe to get the job, you have to know someone to get the job. How are you going to break down this unemployment in this country, especially for people under 40?
Different ways. One, like I said, many proposals have been presented, but they've not been implemented. Why? Because there's no political will to implement them. And two, we don't have equal access and equal opportunity. You'll find that a job exists And no matter how many qualified people apply for it,
Yes.
it is being reserved by so and so's son or daughter. That should be changed. But again, also the sectors that used to employ our people have been, destroyed. Agriculture used to be the greatest employer. We don't have that anymore. All the cooperative unions have been destroyed. So you cannot have those employment opportunities that we used to have. Everything has been politicized. I'll talk about my own art sector. As a person, when I was still, able to do my work before the government started looking at art as a threat, I would employ more than 100 people.
Yes.
All those employment opportunities have been squashed. And not only me, in very many other sectors. So if there is a political will where we see the empowerment of our young people, not as a threat, but as a resource, then we will be able to grapple with the unemployment challenge.
Yes.
But also even our education system. You see, today we export maids.
Yes.
We export security guards. We should be exporting doctors. We should be exporting professional footballers. Those ones that we have, nurtured right from school. We should be exporting professional boxers, etc., etc. So it has something to do with our education system. But again, the education system is just a symptom. It has everything to do with our governance.
Sticking to education before we switch to agriculture, you have spoken vividly about skills and all these things, but also, if you know, Honorable, that anyone who does vocational skills is taken to be a failure. That mindset needs to be changed as one.
Certainly.
And also, do you think if we have a gap year in between our education system, do we still need 17 years in school? One. Two, do we need a gap year for me to be able to find what exactly I'm doing? Because, Honorable, just to let you know, I am an accountant, but I am here in media and I am talking to you. So that means I am forfeiting someone who would have done this job because of their skilling. How do we find the match there?
The mindset. I'm very glad you talked about the mindset. The mindset has been a very big undoing for us.
Yes.
When I was in my senior six VAC, many of the ghetto youth that did not have the opportunity to go past P7, or my friends that did not have the opportunity to go past senior 4, went and learned, got skills, building, welding, etc. By senior 6, these are the guys that were buying breakfast for us.
Yes.
Why? Because they looked at those skills. Even when we were laughing at them for not coming to HSC with us, they were already productive citizens. This, my house, was built by one of my friends called Wile, who did not go past P7. After who didn't go past senior 4. After senior 4, he didn't have school fees, so he went to an initiative that was built in Kamocha. It was called Goal Vocational Training Institute, where he learned how to build. That is a guy that built my house. He got those skills while I was going to HSC. I mean, when I went to campus myself, I first got admitted and I studied for an entire year doing a course in social sciences. Majoring in anthropology, political science, until I myself got to realize that this is not taking me anywhere. It's not giving me the skills that I feel I should be having. I was lucky to be readmitted at the Department of Music, Dance and Drama. But even then, the mentality there was like MDD is Musiru Dala Dala, until it was able to produce a Bobi wine that you see here. So we must also deal with that mindset to make sure we make our people appreciate what makes sense to them.
Moving on to agriculture. OWC, we have Operation Wealth Creation, we have NADS, we have very many organizations looking at one sector. And also we have 68% are in agriculture, but the people that are passively even in agriculture, about 98%. We have 83% women in agriculture. Honorable, how do you change agriculture? We also export a lot of raw materials. We export the coffee, we get the shirt at crazy amounts. We export coffee out and we get coffee in our cans and it's very expensive. What do you hope to do for agriculture? Not just the planting, but also the value addition.
You see, Timothy, you cannot reinvent the wheel. This has been discussed in even more eloquent terms before. Agriculture has ever made sense. Some of us studied on our father's coffee,
True.
on our grandfather's cocoa, because agriculture has ever made sense. You want to know what is happening or what will happen, go back and look at what happened before. How was agriculture managed? Agriculture was given to the people. The people ran their own agriculture. Today, agriculture was grabbed from the people and it's controlled by a few. Operation Wealth Creation is under the control of President Museveni's brother, General Salim Saleh. What is his profile in government? What is his position in government? Nobody knows. But he's the one controlling agriculture. Has he been a farmer before? No. He was a cattle keeper. He was not even a cattle keeper. He's a soldier. So you notice that there's every effort to control every sector. Now that they wanted to control agriculture, yes, they'll give you different statistics that don't even tally with the common people.
Yes.
They'll say agriculture is developing because a few individuals are benefiting out of it. So we must free agriculture. Let us do what used to be done. I mean, when I was in P2, we were being told that Uganda was, I think, number 2. It was next to Brazil in exporting coffee.
Yes.
What happened now? This is the same Uganda. Let us go back to the system that used to work. Let us free agriculture and give it back to the people. Let the people take care of their own business.
You have spoken of the need for the people to take over the business of agriculture, basically. But the thing is, what is the biggest need of agriculture? What do the people need? Because right now, OWC gives seedlings. Is seedlings the biggest problem? What is the biggest problem, in your view, Honorable?
The biggest problem, in my view, is hijacking the agriculture. I was in Busoga recently. They used to have Busoga growing society, which they call society. You know, it was for the Busoga. They knew how to control their agriculture. Even a person that did not have capital, after confirming from the local leader, the local agricultural leader, after confirming that this person is going to be a decent grower, is going to be a trustworthy grower, they used to get that assistance. Now, it is given to foreigners in the name of investors. So the Ugandans lost it out. They were reduced to, I don't want to use the word slaves, but they were reduced to laborers. They don't own it anymore. In the village where I come from, we used to have, small-scale factories called jaggeries. We used to have coffee mills, where we would not only sell our, where we would not only sell our unprocessed coffee.
Yes.
Yeah. If we went on with that, by now we would be making that Nescafe ourselves. We would be able to process and have final products from our coffee, from our cocoa, from our tobacco. But now we are not allowed. As a matter of fact, government recently announced a move to even have to license coffee growers.
Yes.
They are trying as much as possible to tighten the noose, to take away the power of production from the common people, to have the power themselves. In the Busoga, it's a few people that have license to trade in sugarcane. That's not the way it should be. Let us re-decentralize agriculture. Let us give the authority of production back to the people. Let the people own agriculture.
Let's move on from agriculture, and I think one of the things that also needs to be done in agriculture is the subsidies to pesticides and also now irrigation, because we don't have the rains that we used to have. We depend a lot on rains
that are coming to our healthcare system. How does that translate downwards to the common person?
Yes.
There's no new hospital that has been opened. There's no new ambulance that we see on the street. There's no raise in the salary of the health workers. No, nothing. All we hear is that we've gotten this money, and we know that this money is being stolen. So, it all zeroes back to governance, because nobody has been held accountable. We are fighting a disease, but we are fighting it with guns. You don't hear the president sanctioning new doctors and new nurses. They are sanctioning new soldiers and new police officers. They are buying new guns when we are fighting a disease. That shows you that the government that we have here is not concerned about any change, any betterment of the lives of the people. What matters to them is maintaining state power. You know.
And sticking with COVID, COVID in this period, the focus has been on regional referrals, the district referrals, and we have not looked at the village health centers to be able to deal with some of these COVID cases. Today, the declaration has been made that Mulago will not be doing the testings. It will be handling the cases of COVID that are coming through. What do you think we should be doing to focus on having treatment even at the village level?
For starters, let us better the conditions of our healthcare, of our health workers, the doctors, the nurses, the midwives. Let us better the working conditions and the salaries.
Do we have the budget for that?
We can have the budget for that. We borrowed a lot of money, up to the tune of, altogether, the monies that have been raised, up to the tune of 6 trillion shillings. We should use that money for the purposes that money was, borrowed for.
Yes.
We are having a health crisis. So let us allocate our resources there.
We have a lot of private players in the market of the health sector, and they dictate the price. You will go to one hospital, the price will be here. Isn't the biggest problem this liberalization of the market for anyone to be able to dictate the price? And how do you plan?
I'll tell you that this so-called liberalization was also intended. The healthcare system was hijacked and taken away. Look at all the national referral hospitals. They are surrounded by private pharmacies. Those pharmacies belong to those positioned people. Look at the hospitals, the big hospitals that purport to subsidize the referral hospitals. They are owned by their own. You get what I mean?
Yes.
But again, we have go to Kasangati Health Center and all these other health centers that are supposed to be government driven. Let us restock them with medicines. Let us better the working conditions and the salaries of the people there. Let our young people be proud to work in our health sector. We want the doctors to walk with their heads high, like the DPCs do, like the RPCs do, like the generals do. Because these people save life, they don't take life. So we should uplift the people that save life, not the ones that take life.
Shouldn't we regulate the private pharmacies and private hospitals to make sure they're not skimming the Ugandans? And also, what is your perspective on the Lubowa hospital, the specialized hospital that is supposed to be there? And will it be for every Ugandan?
That is all elitist talk. I'll tell you, my brother. Until everything that we do glorifies the common person who shoulders the taxes which money we use to reach to make these people in power rich, it will not make sense. Of course, there are many. I mean, the Ruboa hospital was there, but in my opinion, it was a scheme.
For who?
It was a scheme by the regime. That's why we went there as members of parliament. And we were blocked from accessing that so-called government initiative.
And I know our time is fast spent, but how do you plan to manage debt? Our debt is growing, 48, turning to 50% per GDP. 45 trillion Uganda shillings is what our budget is for 2020-2021. But most of it is being spent on debt repayment. How do you plan to manage the debt of this country?
First of all, stop borrowing.
But we cannot finance the whole budget. URA is only collecting 21 trillion shillings. The balance of it, over the bulk of it.
Where does it go? Where does it go? You will find, and looking at the recent Attorney General's, the recent Auditor General's report, so much of our money goes to wastage. Okay? We have to allocate, to reallocate our monies. And that, again, goes back to governance. For example, why do we need so many RDCs? Why do we need so many ministers? Why do we need so many members of parliament? Why do we need so much money being spent on administration? I said it before that as president, I'm not going to need so many ministers. I'm not going to need the RDCs. I'm not going to need, man, we are going to cut out all that senseless public spending. And those monies will be directed to the sectors that so desperately need that money.
Honorable, it is a very interesting, good idea. But the reality that happens on the ground, including the corruption that is eating up this country, left, right, and center, how do you plan to root it out?
How do you even explain failure because of corruption? Root out corruption. Have a zero tolerance policy on corruption.
But you
have those corrupt.
You have Lieutenant Colonel Nakalema, you have the IG's office, you have duplication of various corruption management. That
is corruption itself. I've said it before, and many people fear to say that. But our president is the most corrupt person. Okay, the Inspector General of Government has said it before that whenever he tries to go after the corrupt, they hide behind the president, behind the. I'm looking for it. I'm looking for a decent word, but they hide behind, the defender of corruption, and you see that it is actually not an effort to curb down corruption. It is an effort to create extra eating space. How do you tell me you have an Inspector General of Police and then you have a Nakalema? That's posturing. But I mean,
Honorable, let's take a break. And as we take this break, the last few questions I think I'll be asking you are about elitists. How will you be able to get them off their keyboards? And I think the final one is you alluded to something, absolute power corrupts. How long do you plan to run? How long do you plan to stay? And we're going to have this Honorable Kyagulanyi fighting against His Excellency Kyagulanyi come 2040.
Yeah.
Those are the questions we'll be looking at after this commercial break. Welcome back from that commercial break. My name is Timothy Nyangweso. I'm still joined by Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, and we're still discussing his presidential bid for this country and what he's going to do. In the first segment, we have talked agriculture, education, the budget, health. We have touched on everything. But in this last segment, we want to focus on you, the people that are online and are busy tweeting and on Facebook, to be able to understand what Honorable is going to be doing for you. So, Honorable, before we went for the break, there's a question that has always disturbed me. We have had a caption, Museveni of 1986 and Museveni of 2000, that if they met, they would fight. Yeah. And also a caption that was in the newspapers in 2006 that where the president said, after this I will not come back. And you said, absolute power corrupts. If, Honorable, you become president, 2021, aren't we going to see a fight between Honorable Kyagulanyi and President Kyagulanyi come 2050?
Well, that's my worst fear. And that is why it must not be according to me to decide whether I do what's right or not.
How many times would you run for?
No, before we go there,
yes.
It must not be up to me whether or not to respect the law.
Yes.
Because every time we leave it to an individual, individuals disappoint. When President Museveni came, we uplifted him as a person. That is why he has the audacity to say, oh, I fought for you, or I saved you.
Well,
that is why exactly. That's why I encourage the people of Uganda, especially the young people, because they will be there.
Yes.
I encourage them to be part of this so that we liberate ourselves as a nation. And when we achieve it together as a nation, then nobody, not even myself, will ever come out and say, oh, I'm the Alpha and Omega, oh, I liberated you. We must believe in institutions right from the struggle until when we are there. We must not raise a Superman. No, we must raise super institutions. So it must not be about me.
So that means right now you must be working with a group of people that when you leave power, they are able to take over.
Certainly, we're working with a group of people, and we must have that written in black and white on the wall and ready to hold everybody accountable, everybody subjected to those principles that we believe in.
Before we even get to National Unity Platform, you as the president, come 2021, when you are president of this country, do you expect the army and the police to salute you?
Yes. The army, not me expecting, the army and the police and all other security agencies are expected to salute the president. They are expected to be subjected to civilian rule. They are expected to respect the law. The police is supposed to be keeping law and order.
The elitists in this country complain a lot on Twitter, Facebook, on WhatsApp, and spend a lot of time there venting what is happening in this country. How do you turn those around to become voters? And secondly, how far is your reach to be able to get this country to turn around and put their vote on you to become president?
Yes, we have many people doing what they're doing in different ways.
Yes.
I wouldn't want to come out to be seen to call them elitist, although they are, but I rather look at them as a resource, not as a distraction. They also can play a role. Some people can play a role on their keyboards, especially if they're saying what is right, what is beneficial, they can give those amazing ideas. Not everybody has the courage to come out on the street. Not everybody has the courage to go door to door campaigning the message of change. But whoever and wherever they can do their noble work from, let them do it. But importantly, they should vote, because some wise man said it in the past that bad leaders are elected by the good people who don't vote. So it's important that everybody comes out and vote, because for us, that's what we believe in. We are not violent like these, our rulers. For us, we believe in democracy. We believe in the vote. So wherever you are, whoever you are, just know that when you don't vote, you're doing a disservice to yourself, your children, and your children's children. But again, for those that are always online, communicate what is beneficial to your country. Say the truth.
Honorable, leaving the lists and also looking at the campaign season, with this pandemic being here, the president has had the opportunity to go around the country twice. How are you managing to go around to make sure you rally your voters to traverse this country to get the votes you need, including the 10,000 people signatures you need per district?
You know that while President Museveni has been going around and continue to go around the country, campaigning, he blocked my concerts. He blocked even my efforts to go for prayers. He blocked my consultations using the police and the UPDF. He has done all evil things that a dictator can do. I'm only thankful to the Almighty God that He gave us a way out even before we knew. That is music. I can reach as far as Museveni's bedroom without even trying, So our music communicates. And also because we are a connected generation. We have social media and we have all these other platforms. We use them. Of course, that's not enough. But we go around. We call it a rubber dub style. Right now, as I'm here, many of our colleagues are in Koboko, they are in Aroa, they are in Kasese, they are in Kabohe, they are everywhere. It's not just me. Man, this is a generational revolution.
They say that the West has funded this campaign of yours. How are you managing to run this expensive campaign? And where are you getting the resources?
Well, President Museveni has always tried to find a way to vulgarize every effort that is against his dictatorship. I mean, why would I need the West to fund me? And having blocked all my sources of income, he keeps wondering how I keep surviving and how I keep smiling. There's so much love in this country. I cannot park at a petrol station and people allow me to pay for my fuel. I cannot go to a restaurant and people allow me to pay for my meal. And this happens to our fellow activists all around. So it is Ugandan people that are making this possible. And of course, quite a number from the diaspora that reach out to our colleagues, those in jail, those that are being incarcerated, those that have been hospitalized. It is Ugandans that are doing that. In any case, if there is anybody that is an agent of neocolonialism, that is President Museveni. That explains why all our, futures are being sold. You heard of the efforts to lease out Lake Victoria.
Yes.
You have seen President Museveni giving out, chunks of land to so-called investors at the cost of Ugandans. So he is the real, agent of neocolonialism. Before long, we will be recolonized again by these, our colleagues that have been oppressing our people during the COVID-19 without a single word from the president of Uganda.
Honorable, I want to call it a day today, and it was a privilege to be able to visit and see your beautiful home, but also the exhibition match that we shall decide on which day. But it's a privilege to be able to hear what you want to do for this nation, and I hope all of us out there have decided on what vote we're going to be giving to who. JF Kennedy said, do not ask what your country can do for you. Ask yourself what you can do for your country. Yes. So in closing, I would like you to call out to the young people and all Ugandans to come on Voters' Day and decide who and why you should be president.
Sure, to Ugandans and especially the young people. First of all, I thank you for opening your eyes and realizing what we must do as a generation. It's encouraging that there has been a mass awakening of us as a generation. But again, we must take it a notch higher. It's not just a matter of seeing what's wrong. It's a matter of knowing what we must do to redeem this, our country, and then going ahead and doing it. Don't be fooled. This is not about Kyagulanyi as a person. No, it's not about me. Just recently, I was as mentally sterile as many of our young people. I was as less concerned about this, our country, as many of us. I'm not here because I'm the most talented. I'm not here because I'm the most qualified. As a matter of fact, I've said it before, that, I only get my consolation from the scriptures that God does not pick the qualified. He does not choose the qualified, but qualifies the chosen. So our qualifications are each other. I know that all of us have something to put. You probably have knowledge in mobilization. The other has knowledge in organization, and the other has knowledge in this and the other. Let us come together as a generation and do this. It is not going to be easy. We are not going to get this liberation, this freedom on a silver platter, but certainly it will come, and it is our duty. Every generation has a duty to prepare for the next generation. Today, we are the elders. We are the big men and women of our nation. Just recently, we were boys and girls, but now we are fathers and mothers, and soon we are going to be grandmothers and grandfathers. So let's come together and change this, our country. I am running for president. I will tell you officially. And why? Because we want to change this. We want to get our nation from gun rule to civilian rule. We want to put an end to gun power and have a beginning of people power, where all of us have a say in this, our country, where our voice matters, where leaders are true servants of people and the people are the true masters of their dignity, where a vote counts. And that we are going to do it with a vote, because those that took us over by guns made sure that for the last 34 coming to 35 years, it is the gun that matters. It is the vote that matters. And what can do that? The vote. So I am running on your behalf and on behalf of all other change-seeking Ugandans, of all change-loving Ugandans. Our ultimate goal is freedom, it is equality, it is justice, where every Ugandan, every single Ugandan has equal opportunity, is subjected to the same law, gets the same reward for their talent and gets the same punishment for the same wrong. Where Ugandans, you and me, are judged by the content of our character, not from what tribe we come from, not from what religion we come from, not from what family we come from. That is our ultimate cry. We can do this, and we can do this together. I thank you, and I look forward to all of us celebrating after we achieve what we want to achieve as a generation. I thank you for God and my country.
I hope you have heard from Honorable Kyagulanyi with everything he has said, but we choose to bring you the people that are standing to be able to take leadership in this country, but it is your choice to be able to decide who speaks to your need. Our part is to be able to avail them. The rest is up to you. You cannot complain about the leaders you get unless you go and vote. So it is your choice. Till next time, keep it Jesus.